Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to yet another PitchGround webinar, product webinar. And today we have Chanakya with us from Skillspace. And we're going to be talking about one of the most critical problems that I have personally faced as well. And I'm sure that every company has faced at one point of the time, which is hiring good developers. The problem is not just hiring good developers. The problem is that everyone today aspires to build a good product, especially the non-developers. They always have a dream to build that right product because they want to start something. They want to start a tech company. But the problem is that they don't know how to begin with. They don't know where to go. And most important, they don't know the process of hiring the right developer. And that is one of the biggest reasons why we see so many companies either losing money or they end up folding up even before they get started. So this is exactly where Skillspace comes into picture. And today we're going to talk about the exact same subject. So before we get started, John, okay, if you can just take a moment to introduce yourself, that would be really fantastic.
Yeah, first off, thanks for having us. And to give a brief context about myself, as you all know, I'm Chanukya. I'm the founder of Skillspace. And before starting Skillspace, I was a founding team member and data scientist at CompuData. And before that, I spent extensively working with student and developer communities at CoachF and Internshala. Had the opportunity to grow developer community at CoachF from 300K to 2 million. And been extremely a problem solver right from day one. I mean, always passionate about solving problems in the hiring space, education space, and have seen several of the problems that you mentioned right now as well as a recruiter, and that compelled me to start Skillspace, and DeFi is another product that we're building. But yeah, that's some context about myself. Looking forward to the session and interacting with the audience. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Let's get started. So the screen is all yours. Why don't you go ahead and share your screen?
Yeah, sure.
We'll go through the presentation first, then we'll quickly walk through the product. And
yeah, definitely. Hi, first off, welcome everyone. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure Udit has given a great introduction about the problems that we face while hiring. I think it's not just with the technical hiring. I think talk about any hiring practice out there, we end up seeing n number of problems with identifying the right candidates and also having those quality candidates talking to us during the interview process. Right. So that's a compelling problem we have seen, and also talking about some quick statistics. Right. So when we look at the entire landscape, over 90% of the applicants, they churn out after the first round of process. They get rejections after the first round. And this is a big problem that we others noticed, and as well as several other companies that we have worked with, they have noticed this. And that's where we were compelled to solve this particular problem, and we started a Skillspace where we wanted to provide that powerful automated technical assessments that will allow companies to hire great engineering and AI teams. And also it's just not just this. I mean, probably I'll also quickly show you another screen to talk about extensively about the problems that the several companies that are facing at the moment. And also I'm sure you can resonate well with some of the problem statements for sure. Yeah, I just give me one moment with the time, just sharing my screen. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, great. So right now, if I extensively talk about the problem, as you all know, hiring best tech talent, or rather any talent, is a tedious task in the first place. And as I mentioned just now, 90% of the applicants get rejected in the first round of screening process itself. And not just that, I mean, it's extremely time consuming, not just for a founder, but also a tech recruiter or even for a programmer. It's extensively time consuming to automate the entire evaluation process, as well as note down each and every interview notes, and also track a note of all the assignments and bunch of other things. I mean, it's extremely time consuming for any recruiter, for any founder. Despite having so many challenges that we ourselves face in the business, we also need to take care of the hiring challenges as well, right? And a company is as good as their team. So if you're not having a great team, obviously you won't be able to scale, and you won't be able to make a much bigger impact and much bigger difference on this planet. So always team comes first, and that's where having those right tech hiring stack or tech hiring tools will allow you to build a better team, and which will eventually allow you to build a better business and also eventually impact the world at large. So that's a big problem statement. I'm sure most of you would resonate with that. And in order to solve this problem, we have started Skillspace, which is a simplified tech hiring assessment platform that will give you practical tests on across 12 hiring roles at the moment, 12 tech hiring roles. And what it does is it actually eliminates the entire bias in the hiring process. So typically what happens is, in a general scenario, a tech recruiter gets about, let's say, they open up a tech hiring position, and they eventually get 20 applicants, 30 applicants, or in some cases, they end up getting huge volume of applications, let's say 100 or 200. Now, what they typically do is they usually go through each and every resume and try to see what kind of background they have, what kind of skill sets they have, by just going through the resume. Okay, which is not actually gauging the skills of a particular candidate. They're actually looking at the resume and taking a call whether they need to take them to the further steps of the interview or not, which is not so efficient, right? Whereas what we want to do is we want to build a culture of skill-led hiring, where you only hire quality developers who are good at coding, right? I mean, that eventually makes sense, where you only hire those quality candidates who are actually able to code with some consistency and able to build some scalable products which will create a large impact out there. And that's where our automated assessment platform will actually allow you to create tests seamlessly, as well as track the progress of each and every candidate. And it also gives you a curated list of top 10 candidates whom you can actually put them through the next steps of the hiring process. That completely optimizes your effort, and also it saves your precious engineers time eventually. And as I said, I'll probably quickly walk you through the platform on how it actually works, so that it gives you a feel of how the entire hiring process begins on Skillspace. So this is the Skillspace platform. If you're not registered, I mean, you can feel free to register and sign up for a free trial. So there are predominantly 3 components out here. One is a test component, where you can create tests on any tech hiring role using this particular module. And there is a library component, where you can access library of questions, library of coding questions, data science questions, or MCQ questions, which you can ask in the test. Okay, you can create your own questions, or you can also access our own questions from the library. So I'll quickly go through tests and create a quick test for your reference. So all you need to do is you just need to click on create test, click on hiring, and select a role of your choice. Let's say if you're hiring a software developer, just click on software developer and proceed. And that's pretty much it. You'll be able to create a test. And the second thing is you need to add some questions to this particular test. That's where you can quickly go through the library and see what are the questions you might want to add. So in this particular case, since I'm hiring a software developer, I'll probably pick some coding questions of choice. So I'll just add some couple of coding questions, and then publish this to the test. And once I publish this test, I can automatically start sending invitations. Let's say if I want to invite few candidates, I can simply enter the email address of the candidate and start sending the invitation, and that's it. And once the invitation is sent, the candidate, whoever it is, like they'll get an email and they'll be able to take the test, and you'll be able to, once they complete the test, you'll be able to see the progress out here. So it's pretty simple. It's a 2 or 3 step process. Anyone without any expertise in technical field will be able to use the platform and be able to gauge the progress of candidates here. And also I'll probably quickly show you some of the previously created tests. So these are some of the previously created tests where you can see how the progress actually is shown. So I'll probably show you, I mean, this is one of the tests where we have done proctoring demo. So where you can see, like, whether a particular candidate has actually appeared for the interview or not. So for example, in this particular case, we can see the confidence score of our AI proctoring. So here I can see that, like, the original captured images of an individual, whereas we can see that there is a confidence score of 0. Here, like, our AI powered proctoring engine is working, and it is actually showing a confidence score of 0 at a particular moment. And it will also capture the image of the candidate at that particular moment. So you can see that, like, the candidate has actually masked the camera. So all these minute details are also added, which actually verifies the entire test and also makes it more foolproof for the companies, so that they can go and take a decision with authority and also with confidence. So that's what we are trying to bring through Skillspace AI, where they can actually rely on our platform to be able to optimize and automate their entire tech hiring interview process. Yeah, I mean, that's some context overall. And this is whatever I have shown right now is totally driven towards developer tests. And there is another product called as interviews. I'll quickly show you, like, how it looks like at the moment. So in the first case, generally in any tech hiring process, they create a test, and the candidate tries to take that test. And once they clear the test, the second round would be a interview round, a personal interview round. And that's where, like, we have created a interview platform that allows candidates and also the tech hiring manager to have a unified platform where they can actually code in a live collaborative environment and gauge their skills instantly. So I'll just quickly show you how an instant interview can be created. This is an instant interview link that I have created on Skillspace AI. It is nothing but similar to Zoom that we are using right now. It is a same video. It is the same video interview platform. The main USP here is we provide a live coding interview interface, which allows candidate and also the recruiter to code live in collaboration. They can code live, and they can actually, like, whatever I'm typing here can be seen by the candidate, and whatever the candidate is typing can be seen by the recruiter. And not just that, we have some really cool capabilities like whiteboard, which are usually used for system design interview questions, often highly used by the tech recruiters. And also, like, you can invite more people and initiate the call. These are some of the additional functionalities that we have. And also the recruiter can take private notes about each and every candidate and store them and track them for a long while. And also they can give a verdict for themselves. This is purely for internal purposes. But yeah, that's in a nutshell about the entire platform. Udit, I'm pretty much done. I mean, I'll probably, like, yeah.
So I have some question for you, Janakya, right away. Firstly, is there any sort of embed board that you can sort of add to your website by any chance?
Sorry, embed board.
Yeah. So for example, I can, all the jobs that I've created, right? I can just put it up in a folder, for an example, and just sort of embed it on the website. So this way, I can further sort of enhance my entire hiring experience, right? So many a times what happens is that companies are actively hiring, right? So one of the best sort of hires usually are the ones that are inbound, where they just discover that you are hiring, they are sort of interested, and then they go and apply for it, rather than people coming through different sort of platforms, just through LinkedIn or any other platform, right? Where you still have to interact. So is it something that you can do right now with this platform?
At the moment, it is not possible, but we intend to. I mean, that's a very valuable input that you have given. We will definitely put it in our product roadmap and see how we can make it a reality. Yeah.
Great.
Thanks. Thanks for
And
that.
after this is done, is there a possibility to sort of like schedule any sort of meeting or interviews right inside the platform?
Yeah, I mean, right inside the platform, they can schedule interviews. Just now, I showed the interview platform where the candidate and interviewer can actually interact in a live audio video chat like we are doing. It's just that the main USP that we have is a live coding environment where the recruiter gives a question on the fly and the candidate is supposed to solve that particular puzzle. And it can also be automatically evaluated right in the live coding environment, and both knows what is correct and what is wrong. So that's the main USP. Live coding, the collaborative coding environment is our main USP, and we support over 40 plus programming languages. Yeah.
Right. So most of those tests, can we go through like one of those environment right now to kind of like show how it will really work out, how the test would really happen? And
Yeah,
also,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So this is something that I've showed for live coding environment, right? I mean, this is where an individual can actually code and run it and then see whether there is, yeah. Right now the code is running and we will see some output. Your code is being evaluated. And we'll be able to see if there is an error or if it is correct or wrong. We'll be able to see it here. So this is for the interviews.
And the environment supports like 40 plus languages right now.
Yes. We support 40 plus languages. So you can see it here. So we support all these programming languages, including the most, very popular C++, Java, everything. So these are the list of programming languages that we support.
Awesome. And how often do you guys update the questionnaires?
Yeah, questions are something we ensure that we update every few weeks. We have right now the repository that we have is non-Googleable. That means the candidates can't Google it and get answers instantly. So that is something that we ensured. So that's a confidence that we would also like to buy in from the customers that we have, right? So that's something that
I have an alternative theory, right? Don't you think it's actually a good idea to also add some of the questions that are actually Googleable? Because I think that's one of the most underrated skills. Just go and Google and figure out, right? What are your thoughts on it?
So yeah, I mean that's a good this thing, but the problem is, these tests, right? They are typically for 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So what they actually test is the problem solving abilities of the candidates. Okay, so and you try to time it, and in that case, you are in that high pressure environment, and you would want to gauge those problem solving abilities, not how they actually learn the syntax or anything of that sort, right? You're just gauging their problem solving abilities, and rest of the things you anyway take care in the interview process, especially the interview platform that I'm referring to, right? You can always interact with the candidate, ask them to Google and solve it. Even I do that. That's a best practice that we also follow, where we say, okay, feel free to Google, feel free to come up with the answer. That's fine. As long as you're solving the problem, that's totally fine. But in this case, if they directly Google, right, if they get the solution, if they put the answer, that means that they're not really putting an effort. So you don't really see that hard intent from the candidate in terms of putting that effort into your position. So we want to build that skill-led hiring culture, right? That's where you want candidates with intent to apply for your organization and to show that commitment towards your organization. So that's where
I have one more sort of suggestion for you. I don't know if it's how possible it is to implement. It's pretty much implementable. But let's say when they start the test, is it possible to just record their entire screen? So the entire screen recording will get enabled. So what's going to happen is that even if they're trying to Google, so they'll probably have to sort of get a mobile phone, or they'll have to get another laptop or something, which is too much of a tedious task to really sort of get hired, right? So I think that is sort of a visible feature, because I've not seen this specific feature being added by any of the other companies. So I'm just thinking how Skillspace can really start standing out.
Yeah, we'll definitely explore that feature. That's something we have launched it in a very small scale at the moment. What we do is we record the session, and we don't record the screen share of the session, but we record different events, whether a candidate is switching the tabs or not. That is something that we record already on the interface. So for example, if I look at any candidate's solutions or whatever it is, we record their each and every event on the report. But what you're suggesting is really advanced feature, and I really see that there is a value prop there. So for example, in the timeline, right, we try to capture different events of a candidate. So
Right.
similarly, we would want to, you're suggesting that we enhance it further, right? So that's something that we would
Yeah. So
definitely look at.
what's going to happen is this way. I can just check. Okay, how did
Yeah.
he solve this problem when he was solving this, right? So
Mhm.
what we're trying to do is that live coding environment that we had, right? We're
Yeah.
trying to have that as a recorded environment as well.
Yeah.
When they are just solving the first step before getting onto the live call, because what's going to happen with that is there's a big chance that you might not want to go to the interview stage itself, which is the live coding interview stage,
Yeah.
especially if it's an early stage company, right? If you make the hiring process way too tedious, it's sort
Yeah.
of hard for startups to sell as well.
Yeah. Right.
So I feel this way, what's going to happen is that you are still viewing how they're solving the problem without
Yeah.
actually being or live on the call or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good feedback. I mean, so one thing that we are working on the video interface, right, on the interview thing. So what we are trying to plan again, I mean, this is something in the product roadmap. We want to apply some ML algorithms, basically, like, we would be using a deep learning algorithm, which would summarize the interview as well. So that instead of the recruiters watching the entire 1 hour interview, they can actually, the AI will give them the summary of the interview. Okay, so that is something that we are also planning. But yeah, what you said is slightly different, but I'm just saying, I mean, like, an enhanced feature to it. We would definitely look into it. That's something that we would definitely add. And thanks for sharing the feedback.
Right.
We need such lovely feedback here.
Perfect. So I'm going to go to some of the non-technical questions, right?
Yeah,
How
sure.
did you start Skillspace? There are similar platforms out there like Skillspace, right? So instead of using those existing platforms, why did you guys decide to build Skillspace?
All right. So that's a very good question, actually. Like, so one thing is definitely there. So basically, if you look at a bunch of platforms out there, have been in the space for a while, and all of them are very like they're too technical, and it's really hard to use. So what we did is we put a very simplistic UI UX on our forefront. So we are known for simple UI and UX. And also we started with AI first approach. So basically, like, when we started Skillspace, it was purely meant for empowering companies to empower them to hire best AI and data science talent, so which no one had at that point in time. None of the competitors were in, solely they were into software development. We were the first one to be in that space where we were trying to help companies, empower them to be able to solve the challenge of data science and AI needs. So that's how we started, and then we gradually started expanding the spectrum to software development. Our USP is purely one is simple UX. It's something that we want to bet big on, and we have betted big on, and that's what we are known for at the moment. Yeah, and we are very, I mean, if you look at the entire interface and the entire process of creating a test to seeing the candidate progress, right, it's very simple. It's just in a couple of steps you will be able to know the entire process. So that's something that we are known for, and we want to keep it simplistic for the
Great.
users.
I have one more question for you. What is DPHI, right? What's the story behind that name? Because that's really sort of a little bit of unique name. So what's the story behind it?
Yeah. I'm sorry to correct you, but yeah, it's called as DeFi. I keep getting this question, and yeah, and people confuse with DeFi and DPHI. They call different ways. So DeFi is the parent company of Skillspace, and the name, I mean, and the broad objective of DeFi is to build an ecosystem where we shape the future of AI. And under that, like, we have different products, and one of them is Skillspace. And through DeFi, we have been able to empower over 100,000 plus data enthusiasts over 150 plus countries. We educated them, and we allowed them to solve real world data science and AI challenges at scale. So that's some context about DeFi. And talking about the name, right? D stands for data, and phi is a statistical function. So it's a very technical name that we came up with while forming the community and while keeping the name. So it's a slightly geeky name, I would say.
Right.
But yeah, that's some context. Yeah.
Awesome. So do you happen to have more resources as well? I was going through DeFi's website right now, and I did see like a lot of courses and a lot of contents being offered. So if we dive a little bit into it, right? Because again, it's always good to see what the parent company is actually doing, right? It's always interesting for users as it builds more confidence in the long run for the user that, hey, Skillspace is not just some random new company, but it's actually backed by some very serious company and they're doing some very serious stuff, right? So if you can just tell me a bit more about DeFi in terms of the contents that you guys have been working and the courses that you guys have been doing, I think that would be really great.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Also, I mean, probably I'll give a bit more context about the problem statement as well with DeFi why we started. So I think everyone here in the audience, I'm assuming you know about artificial intelligence. There's a lot of hype around it, and it is also called the new electricity, right? And however, when we start looking at the ground reality, more than 85% of the AI projects fail to drive business impact. And when I talk about 85% magnitude, just to give you some rough stat, in the last year in 2021 alone, we saw about 340 billion being spent on AI. And but when we look at the ground reality, as I said, like 85% of the projects fail to drive impact, right? Fail to drive business impact, and there is shortage of industry-ready talent. There is lack of awareness about data practices. And this is a particular problem that I saw myself, witnessed it myself at first hand while working as a data scientist in the industry. And that compelled me to start DeFi, where we started with our inception. We started as a community, and we have been able to impact over 100K plus learners through our free initiatives. And talking about the initiatives, right? So we have a variety of micro courses around data science and AI on the platform, which you can enroll for free and get certified on each of these courses. We have about 20-25 courses out there. And we also conduct a lot of challenges, AI challenges specifically, on which are purely real world challenges. So we are hosting a NFT data crunch where we are trying to understand the sentiment of each and every NFT in collaboration with a startup in Germany. And likewise, we collaborated with some of the and we are also a partner of World Data League, which is backed by the Portugal government. So these are the two challenges that are running at the moment. And not just that, we have hosted over 90 plus challenges in the past. And yeah, I mean, that's some context about the challenges. And there are live boot camps, which are instructor led, which are taught by some of the industry experts. And apart from that, we also collaborate with some of the best minds of the world, best data science minds of the world, where they come and interact with the community and share their expertise. So when I talk about these best minds, they are from Google's, Facebook's, and some of the biggest names out there, right? Biggest tech companies, the data scientists and lead data scientists, chief data scientists of these big companies. They try to collaborate with us. We try to approach them, and they collaborate with us to be able to share their expertise with the community. So overall, we have built a proper learning community where the main objective is to democratize AI education through DeFi. So that has been the intent from day one. And for that, we have started different initiatives. As I said, I mean, we have started free courses. We have started AI challenges, boot camps, which are live courses. And also we collaborate with some of the finest experts. And you can also possibly feel free to go through the wall of love. These are some of the probably we can see some 1,000 to 1,500 stories on the wall of love, where different learners have spoken about the kind of impact we have created in their lives, in their learning journey, and also in their different walks of life, right? How we have been able to impact them, and how the community has impacted them. This is where you can find all the stories on the wall of love. But yeah, I mean, that's some context. And Udit, if you, yeah.
Perfect. So I'm just going to get back to it before we sort of wrap up this webinar. Let me quickly share my screen.
Yeah.
So right now, Skillspace is currently available on PitchGround on a lifetime deal. It's a brand new platform. We understand a lot of you are still sort of new to it. So you're gonna soon start hearing more about Skillspace. So you're gonna see Chanakya at the same time, Mudit more often at the same time, and at the same time, like we are soon gonna be hiring a developer. So we're gonna use the tool ourselves at the same time to share a great live feedback with you guys. But give it a try. It's an incredible piece of tool. $79. You get to have 5 developer assessment per month. Total of 60 developer assessment. So Chanakya, just in case if people want to have more assessment in a month of time, can they sort of do that in that particular month and use this credit for that month?
That's something that we haven't really accounted for, but like, we'll be happy to extend that for that particular month if there is a request. That's something that we can commit for the community, for the PitchGround community. Yeah.
Perfect. So guys, give it a try. Amazing piece of tool. And if you have any feedbacks or any questions, just drop in the discussion section and we'll be more than happy to get back to you. Or you can send out an email to our support, which is support@pitchground.com. Any final closing lines, Chanakya, do you have?
I think thanks for having us, and I'm really looking forward to interacting with the PitchGround community, as well as really looking forward to seeing their feedback on Skillspace. And our main intent behind Skillspace is to promote that culture of skill-led hiring, right? And we hope we are able to, the main intent behind even listing on PitchGround is to democratize the usage of the product, so that many founders and many freelancers or single entrepreneurs can actually utilize our tool and automate their hiring process that way. So that's the main intent behind, and we're really looking forward for the feedback and democratizing the tool.
This is one question coming in. What is the difference between the dev tool and the interview tool in the LTD page? I couldn't find there two options in the product page. Does dev tool have the feature, the interview feature?
So the dev tool, the dev assessments tool, is only meant for testing candidates. Okay, and the interview tool is meant for interviewing candidates. So if we go to Skillspace website, there are two different products that we have listed, and you can find them on in there, under products section, under products, assessments, and you're right. Interviews. So these are the two different products which are under the same platform. And you can also go through the detailed list of features by going under the products and selecting each of the products. Yeah.
Perfect. So if I hope that solves your question, Kalka. So with that, we will be again doing some more webinars. We wanted to get some initial traction and feedback from everyone from the community. We'll be sharing this recording with everyone again to get some feedbacks, to understand what you guys really like, don't like, and based on that, we'll be further making some changes accordingly. With that, we will be wrapping up this particular webinar. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And again, the recording will be available within the next 24 hours. And we'll go through further things, and you'll start seeing more engagements coming in from Skillspace. Until then, have a fantastic day, everyone. I'll be seeing you guys in the next webinar. Thank you so much, Anakya, for tuning in and giving your valuable time.
Thanks, Udit. Yeah, take care. Bye.